You want shirts? I got shirts.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and today's video is going to be about the hero of the event, Mojo, coming up in the next couple of days on mobile. We've got a Mojo/Jorgen event, and I wanted to take this time to discuss where I feel Mojo lands on my unique tier list. Now, for those of you that don't know, maybe you haven't had an opportunity to watch any of my live streams of the last 2 weeks. I guess it's been about 2 weeks ago now. My community and I came up with 5 tiers that we feel every hero fits into, and this tier list is designed to help new players understand where heroes fit in the grand scheme of all of the heroes in Hero Wars. This isn't a usual tier list from S tier all the way down to F tier, nothing like that. This has nothing to do with overall power level. This strictly has to do with utility effectiveness, build a team around them or not. And just as a quick reminder, I've got up on screen real quick what those 5 tiers are. Pay no attention to the name of the tiers, as those are fun inside jokes for my live streams. If you're a part of my live streams, then laugh along with me now. If you're not, then maybe you should join a live stream sometime. Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? But okay, so we have 5 tiers. We have water bottle tier, which is those heroes that you could build a team around, and you could bring utility to every team. So this is a hero that will fit into every single team: magic teams, physical teams, defensive teams, and also heroes that will that are good enough to build a team around. Okay, good enough to build a team around. Next is the stop sign tier. These are heroes that you would build a team around, but does not bring utility to every team. So you wouldn't put you wouldn't put an armor penetration artifact hero in with a magic team. You wouldn't put an Elmer in with a twins team. So therefore, Elmer would probably be stop sign tier. For example, you have milk crate tier, and these are heroes that are pure utility. These are heroes that you bring in to counter certain other heroes, but do not have enough strength on their own to build a team around. These are heroes that maybe you would have leveled up kind of as a side piece to just swap in, but they themselves are not strong enough to, I wouldn't recommend to a new player to build a team around this hero. And then you have dead battery tier. These are heroes that I would not recommend to spend any resources on because they're too weak, they're bugged, or they're just too difficult to get the full team for. And these are 100% heroes that I would not recommend to new players. But finally, we have the hero tier, the player versus environment, the background hero tier. And these heroes are great in the campaign, in the tower, or against outland bosses, but nothing else. Right? So now that we've got that out of the way, keep in mind that the majority of the tier list videos will be here on my YouTube page, but some of them will be on my Patreon account. So this was a great opportunity for you guys to go check that out. I will have a video or two of tier lists of heroes, tier list hero discussions on the Patreon very soon. So back to the discussion at hand. On mobile, we've got Mojo. And Mojo is typically pretty easy to get. You can get him from 5 different places on the campaign. You're also going to be able to get his soul stones here during this event. Great opportunity to go ahead and push him over the top to get him to absolute star if you're chasing him. He's a mage, he's a support. I'll show you why he's a support in just a second. Of course, his main hero stat is intelligence, and he has a interesting statistic around him. People think that he does a ton of damage, but he actually doesn't do a ton of damage, and I'll explain what I mean by that on the Violet skill whenever I get to it. But first, we have Totem of Wrath. This is his ultimate ability. This creates a totem that fires magic charges at the enemy for 6 seconds. He cannot attack, he cannot use skills, and this can be interrupted. Not a great skill, not a great ultimate. We have the green ability, Healing Spirits. This is where the support kind of starts to play. Healing Spirits heals each ally for an amount of health. Not a bad little ability, especially when it's completely leveled up. This is one of the big reasons why a lot of players have them in their high-end magic teams, twins teams, third arena teams. I'm sorry, third grand arena teams. A little bit of healed goes a long way on a lot of those teams. You have his blue ability, which is interesting, Cursed Bones. It's a stun that hits one enemy and then bounces off to another enemy. Does a little bit of damage too, but it can potentially stun 2 enemies for an indeterminate amount of time. I'm not sure why there isn't a time listed. I think it's 4 seconds, maybe it's 2 seconds. Help me out in the comments down below, guys, if you know what the stun duration is. And then finally we have Hex. Hex is both his best ability and his worst ability. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Hex marks a random target at the start of combat. Every 2 seconds, the mark deals damage based on how much damage the target received during that time. It's a curse, so it can be removed by Sebastian or Nebula or maybe Celeste. However, it does a ton of damage if left unchecked. Now, a lot of people think that Mojo is their top damage dealer on their team, when actually what's happening is the majority of Mojo's damage is attributed to this Hex ability, okay? But what's actually happening is it's based on, if you read it here, every 2 seconds the mark deals magic damage to the target depending on how much damage the target received during that time. So it's taking into account the rest of your team. While this does do a lot of damage, there are much better, in my opinion, violet abilities on mages. I like to think of Mojo as a poor man's Orion or a poor man's Lars. And nothing is more apparent than that when we talk about the artifacts in a second. But first, let's talk about his skins. Intelligent skin is the base skin. We have a cool winter skin if you were lucky enough to get it. This is probably my favorite skin. And then the cybernetic skin is magic attack as well. Probably the lamest looking skin. I feel like the art department had taken a break with this one. The Satori skin, the Satori cybernetic skin that came out with this set is very strong looking. This one's just not that great. Just not that great. A new mask and a new tambourine. Crazy. So artifacts. This is where his support really shines, right? So Mask of Anger gives magic penetration to your whole team. You can use him in conjunction with Lars and Krista. You can use him in conjunction with Dorian Helios. There is a cap, an effective cap. I say effective in quotes, an effective cap to penetration, both magic and armor penetration. So having Mojo in your Twins team or in your Orion Helios team may be a little bit overkill, but if you don't quite have a strong enough Orion and you're working on your Orion, or if you don't quite have a strong enough Lars and you're still working on your Lars, Mojo here might be a good person to sub in until you get him or her or whoever leveled up in its place. Magic penetration artifact is great for mage teams. And you see his book, his magic penetration, magic attack, and of course a ring of intelligence. You're going to want to level up that top and middle artifacts first. For glyphs, we have magic attack, magic defense, again with the magic penetration, health, and then finally intelligence. And you can see here with the magic penetration glyph that any hero that has their own penetration, either armor or magic, that's also a damage dealer, I usually rank pretty high overall, personally, because having that penetration stat is so important in the game of Hero Wars and Hero Wars Mobile. It is so important to be able to reduce the enemy's armor or magic defense enough that your team can do effective damage, all right? So you'd think Mojo is a pretty strong hero. So where would I rank him in the grand scheme of my tier list? Well, because of the nature of his Hex ability and the fact that I just think that he's not as effective as Orion or Lars in a mage team, I'm going to place him in the PvE hero tier. He is amazing against bosses. Amazing against bosses. He's also really good in the tower if you need a third healer or an extra stun to get past those, mid to high tower levels. If you're not clearing the tower every day, he could be beneficial to have in your team. You don't need to invest a lot in him. You just need to have him leveled up. But his ability to do massive damage over time to bosses in a campaign in Outland should not be overlooked. Would I build a team around him? No, I would not. There are much better magic damage dealers to build a team around. Does he fit into every team? No, he does not. I would not put him in my Kark team. There's no chance. I would not put him in a Kira Buzzsaw crit team. No chance. I would not put him into a Leon heavy control team. No chance. So this guy is not terrible. He does have a use in Outland, in the tower, and in the campaign. So he's not too weak to recommend. However, if any new player asks me about this hero, 100%, He's going in the player versus environment hero tier only. All right. Now, of course, if he's your favorite hero, go ahead and build the team. How you build the team around him is you add, you're going to add in Helios with him. You're going to add in potentially Nebula with him. You're going to want to use either Dorian or Martha or Celeste as far as a heal support. You would do well with Aurora as a tank. You would do well with Chab as a tank, or maybe even Astaroth as a tank. I think that I probably would not use Galahad or a Cleaver as a tank. That's kind of what I would do. I would add in heroes. I would add in magic damage dealers that don't provide magic penetration. That would be Krista. That would be potentially Heidi. That would be, of course, Helios. And there's a few more that are in the game. But if you're not in love with Mojo, then don't level Mojo for anything other than beating the bosses in Outland or in the campaign. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and include here the Galahad tier list discussion video that I did last week. And look for a Jorgen tier list video coming out on my Patreon very soon. Of course, like and subscribe, leave comments for a chance to win a skin in my skin sweepstakes that I do each week. I'll be doing that very soon for last week since I missed it since I was out of town. And of course, on Saturday, I'll be doing it for this week. So until then, I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.